Welcome back. It's week 2 for the honest NFL Power Rankings. Last week, my giant curse wheel, this guy, cursed the Ravens. Double cursed them. The Ravens, week 1, they're supposed to beat the Chiefs. Oh, it's 6 again. It really was the Ravens. And they lost by a toe. So today, I'm going to rank my top 11 teams, and at the end of the episode, we spin this big stupid thing again to see who it curses, who it's gonna take down. First, I'm placing the curse wheel's biggest victim this season, the Green Bay Packers in heaven. Ah, yes, the healing light of heaven is for you, Packers fans. Now, you did get the season-long curse back in April, so you're very lucky J-Love will be back soon. Here in heaven, you are afforded healing, but not winning. And while I think Green Bay is a very good team with love, I fear they are not without love. Without love, are any of us really any good? Oh man, makes you think, doesn't it? In purgatory, I've got New Jersey general managers. I already criticized Joe Douglas for botching the Hassan Reddick situation, and the Jets look dicey at best right now, but it's the other Joe in Jersey messing things up. This man, Joe Shane, let Saquon Barkley go over a couple $1 million and then watched him score 3 touchdowns week 1 for a division rival. Xavier McKinney and Julian Love had picks week 1. Julian had 4 last year in Seattle after leaving the Giants and was given the 3rd highest grade of any defender this week. And oh yeah, Leonard Williams, still good. Pretty much every decision you guys have made in free agency has been wrong. Fucking wrong. Well, except for letting Kadarius Toney go. In hell, that's right, Broncos fans. Not because of the loss, but because Russell Wilson is not expected to play this weekend, ultimately letting Broncos fans down one last time. I'm not sure I'll ever be able to forgive this man for robbing us from our revenge game. The worst part is we're playing against Justin Fields, who has the same glaring weaknesses as Russell Wilson. No throws to the middle of the field, which makes his last name too ironic even for me. So when the Broncos defeat the Steelers with Russell Wilson's clone at QB, but not Russell Wilson, we won't get any satisfaction. Number 11 on the power rankings, I've got the Steelers and Bears defenses, but not your crappy offenses. Also, just 10 carries for DeAndre Swift, Chicago. 14 rushing attempts to running backs? Why don't you run the ball and try and help out your young quarterback? Number 10, I've got the Ravens. Now, the Ravens were a toe's length from taking the Chiefs to overtime on the road, but the game really didn't feel that close. One thing I thought was really encouraging against a fierce pass rushing team like the Chiefs, the Baltimore Ravens offensive line was ranked 2nd in pass block win rate per ESPN, with especially strong performances from Ronnie Stanley and Tyler Linderbaum. The Ravens were flagged 5 times for illegal formations, which muddied that performance from the line. Even worse, when you combine all of the flags from all of the other teams, just 15 combined for the same penalty over the course of the weekend. Now, the Ravens do need to get back to giving the ball to their running backs, Derrick Henry and Justice Hill, who received a combined 14 carries, which I think will get better when Keaton Mitchell gets back into the lineup. But the fact that Lamar carried the ball 16 times tell you how badly they were trying to win that game, because he's probably not going to do that again until they absolutely need him to. Number 9, I've got the Eagles. Now, the Eagles were not a team that looked like they were going to escape Brazil with a 1-0 record, but they started to figure it out and leaned on Saquon Barkley, who went over 100 yards on the ground and combined for 3 TDs. Hey, Devin Singletary had 37 for the Giants. Not touchdowns, rushing yards. Another really encouraging sign for the Eagles was the performance of their rookie corner, Quinyon Mitchell, who got tested deep, held up, and in true Philly form, talked a ton of shit. And don't forget to subscribe here. I told Bills fans if we get to 1 million subs by the end of the week, I'll cover your team for the rest of the season instead of my Broncos, okay? Also, today's episode is sponsored by Underdog. That's right, Underdog, my code, That's Good. If you use my code, That's Good, you can get up to 1,000 in bonus cash on your first deposit. Underdog specifically asked to sponsor Power Rankings all season long, which is very cool. they get it. And you know the deal, if I generate 10,000 signups with my code, they owe me $1 million. Last week we had 700 signups. We are now at 1,334. We nearly doubled the signups in a week, guys, which makes me believe we could fucking do it. And one cool game you can play on Underdog is called Streaks. I'm trying to start my streak with Greg Rousseau to get a sack and Tyreek Hill to score a touchdown on Thursday night. Now, if those two players deliver, I just have to pick one player each week to hit their stat total, and if I do that 9 times in a row, my $10 entry is paid out at $10,000. Streaks, check it. That's good. Link below, 10,000 signups. We're gonna get there. Number 8, Vikings. Head coach Kevin O'Connell might get coach of the year after 1 week for what he did with Sam Darnold on Sunday. Stop the count. Stop the count. Sam was, of course, the highest graded QB in week 1 per PFF, narrowly edging out Patty Mahomes. The Vikings also led the league in another stat, empathy. During their unholy beating of the Giants on Sunday, Jonathan Nard said the Vikings started to feel bad for Daniel Jones because of all the boos that were raining down on him and the Giants offense during the game. Number 7, the Texans. Now, I mentioned Joe Mixon getting 30 carries in the winners and losers episode this week. Turns out he finished the week with 178 scrimmage yards, which was more than any other player week 1. Stephon Diggs may have caught the 2 TDs for the Texans, but Nico Collins looks like the most complete receiver in the league, catching 6 passes for $117. Should Houston be higher in the rankings? Sure, but 7 is a lucky number, and they built this roster on luck. And I need to see their defense put the clamps on someone before I go all in on the Texans. Number 6, Cowboys. Yes, I put Dallas ahead of the state rival Texans. Now, maybe Houston played a tougher opponent, sure, but the Cowboys embarrassed Deshaun Watson, and I honestly should have them ranked number 1 for that alone. Watson completed just 3 passes for more than 10 yards, because he sucks. Zeke Elliott was the Cowboys' leading rusher, and I actually love that for Dallas. The Cowboys will get to battle perhaps the most dominant team from week 1 on Sunday, the Saints, in a true test of which NFC team is peaking too early. 5.5 on the rankings. The worm has turned.
The worm has turned. The worm has turned.
Look, I'll be honest, I didn't know what that meant. I'd never heard the worm has turned. So I looked it up. It says, the worm has turned is an idiom. Hey, who you calling an idiom, worm? Shut up, you dumb worm. You're the idiom. Also, all of the cursed drawings you see in power rankings are available at benchwarmershop.com. The real number 5, the Buccaneers. That's right, the Bucs might be the most slept on team in the NFL. Just call them the Beds. They not only won the division last year, but won a playoff game and returned all of their major players, including Mike Evans. Evans had 2 touchdowns, including that insane grab, but Chris Godwin actually received PFF's highest receiving grade, and Baker Mayfield's top target in the passing game was Godwin with 8 catches for 83 yards. If the Bucs run game really clicks, they will be a top 5 team. They had 112 rushing yards to start the season, and Bucky Irving was their leading rusher on just 9 carries with 62 yards. He needs more touches. White was much better catching passes out of the backfield than rushing, so it will be interesting to see how they handle that split moving forward. I also need to mention the greatest duo of names to ever record sacks in the same game. Linebacker Servassier Dennis and, of course, Joe Tryon Shoyinka. Servassier Dennis and Tryon Shoyinka. At this point, I need the Buccaneers to trade for Kool-Aid McKinstry or sign Smoke Monday, who is a free agent, and just have an elite all-name defense. Number 4, the Bills. The Bills haven't lost by more than 6 points in 42 straight games. That is insane. And I don't say that just as somebody who watched their team lose 70-20 last year. They may not be perfect, but they're always competitive. They don't get enough credit for that. They just beat Arizona with 1 catch and 11 yards from Dalton Kincaid. I think that's something that's going to change as the season continues, his production, because most teams won't be dumb enough to triple cover a tight end. But 2 things on defense for the Bills stood out to me. Greg Russo was credited with 3 sacks in this game. He was the only edge defender to record 3 sacks week 1. He had 5 in all of 2023, so he is trending up. More importantly, my man Von fucking Miller led the team in QB pressures with 5, and he also got a sack. Now, Von had 17 pressures on 298 snaps last season as he tried to play while not being fully recovered from his injury in 2022. Everyone counted Von out, and that's fair with age and injury. But this dude is a freak and one of the best defensive players I have ever watched. And if he's 80% of his former self, he's a huge asset for the Bills this season at the edge. Number 3, the Lions. Now, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl in overtime by marching down the field and scoring a TD. The Lions proved they are ready to do the same when they play the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Why were the Lions able to do that in overtime against the Rams? Yes, because Aaron Donald was sleeping all day on his couch on Sunday, but it's their offensive line. Penei Sewell might be the best tackle in the NFL, and that is a unit that just mauls their opponents, okay? And they have a legit 2-headed monster in the backfield with Montgomery, Burns defenses, and Jahmyr Gibbs. Also, free agent acquisition, Marcus Davenport had a very nice debut on the edge, generating 6 pressures and a half sack. That's exactly what they need opposite Aiden Hutchinson, who is still a beast. Number 2, the Chiefs. That's right, they were not the best team week 1. What's your biggest concern, Kansas City? It's Nebraska's quarterback, Dylan Raiola, doing his Patrick Mahomes impersonation, doing it so well that it's starting to get real weird. I am worried he's going to try and wear Patrick Mahomes' skin if somebody doesn't put a stop to this man soon. Wait, am I actually worried about that? Oh, God. Do I gotta root for Nebraska? To be fair to Dylan, he said he actually chose to wear number 15 because of Tim Tebow, but that doesn't explain having the same hair, the same facial hair, the sunglasses, the warm-up style, and quarterback play style. I won't believe he was a true Tebow head until he flies to the Philippines and starts performing circumcisions like Tebow did. Also, no one who idolized Tebow growing up can throw the ball that well. They just can't.
I was encouraged by someone, go back and watch your highlight videos.
1.5. That's right, the 49ers. Okay, San Francisco, you're safe from the curse at 1.5. And honestly, I don't know how good you really are. Personally, I think the Jets' defense will not be as good as they were last season, taking a step back. And clearly, their offensive line has real problems. But since you were without Christian McCaffrey, who many believe deserved MVP last season, and you were able to get a dominant win without him on the sidelines, I respect that, and I'm going to protect you. Jordan Mason filled in admirably. Maybe a little too admirably for Christian McCaffrey, who's injured. He diced the Jets on 28 carries for 147 yards and a TD. He also led the NFL in missed tackles forced with 13. The 49ers fed their backup running back the ball 28 times. Let that be a lesson to all of the coaches with young quarterbacks out there, Sean Payton. And since it's week 1, I can go crazy for number 1, and I'm putting in the Saints. The Saints had the most dominant win week 1. They finger blasted the Panthers 47-10, and they had 5 different players score a touchdown. Alvin Kamara had over 100 all-purpose yards, and we all know Derek Carr had the most perfect 200-yard passing game of his career. And when a team scores 47, the offense is going to get a lot of attention, but let's give Dennis Allen some love as his ass cheeks are ice cold. He's off the hot seat for now, and his specialty, defense, absolutely cooked. And I'm giving my unhung hero award to corner Alontae Taylor, who had 3 sacks against Carolina. That is the most sacks by a Saints corner in a single game. That also ties an NFL record for most sacks by a DB in a game at 3. Harrison Smith for the Vikings and Kyle Hamilton for the Ravens each had 3 sacks in a game last year. Jamal Adams did it back in 2019, which I think can show you how NFL defenses have evolved recently with these boosted numbers. And just 11 first downs for the Panthers and 58 rushing yards and 3 turnovers forced by the Saints defense. D. And to clarify, the unhung hero is a play on unsung. It does not mean Alante has a small wiener. It just means he's being overlooked like he has a small wiener. Now let's spin the curse wheel. Okay. The only thing annoying about this curse wheel is I've got to reframe my shot. But we're only spinning once today. The official curse. Whoa. Settle down there, big guy. Who gon' get it? Who gon' get it? But 7 is a lucky number. Oh, number 6. Who is number 6? Who is number 6? 7. Oh, it's the Dallas Cowboys! Yeehaw! Jerry Jones! You want some glory hole? You want to go in? You ain't going anywhere, Jerry. You're taking a loss this week. Sorry, Scooter. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here. The only way to prevent your team from getting cursed is with a subscription.